Deep beneath the surface of the earth, hidden from the sun and sky, there exists a world unseen by most of humanity. It is a realm sculpted not by hands, but by the patient, relentless work of water on rock over countless eons. Here, time itself seems to slow down, measured in the geological heartbeat of the planet. It is a world of absolute darkness, a blackness so complete it feels tangible, a physical presence that absorbs the most powerful lights, and profound silence, broken only by the rhythmic sound of a diver's own breathing, a constant, intimate reminder of their fragile connection to life. This is a labyrinth of submerged passages, a complex network of tunnels and chambers carved out of ancient limestone over millennia. These underwater caves are some of the last truly unexplored frontiers on our planet, holding geological and biological secrets yet to be discovered. They beckon to a unique and fearless breed of explorer, individuals driven by a desire to chart the unknown. Within these depths lies breathtaking beauty, subterranean cathedrals adorned with formations that defy imagination. But this beauty is guarded by immense danger. Every turn can present a new, life-threatening challenge. Here, the line between discovery and disaster is as thin as the guideline, the diver's single most critical piece of equipment. This simple nylon cord is the only guaranteed path back to the surface. It is the lifeline that leads a diver back through the maze, back to the world of light and air. Losing the line means losing your way, a fatal error in a place with no other landmarks. The reward for accepting such risk is access to unparalleled vistas, and the profound thrill of venturing where no one has gone before, of being the first human eyes to witness a hidden corner of the earth. But the risks are absolute and unforgiving. There is no margin for error, no room for panic. The allure of these hidden chambers is powerful, a siren's call to the curious and the brave, promising sights and experiences found nowhere else on the planet. To answer that call, cave divers train for years, mastering complex equipment where redundancy is paramount. Every critical system has a backup, and a backup for the backup. They spend countless hours steeling their nerves, conditioning their minds to face conditions that would overwhelm the unprepared. They learn to navigate through impossibly tight restrictions, spaces so small they must remove equipment and push it ahead of them, all while in total darkness. They must meticulously control their breathing to conserve precious air, adhering to strict gas management rules like the rule of thirds: 1/3 of the gas supply for the way in, 1/3 for the way out, and 1/3 reserved for emergencies. And they must maintain perfect buoyancy, hovering weightlessly to avoid disturbing the fine, clay-like silt that carpets the floor. A single misplaced fin kick can obliterate visibility in an instant, creating a blinding silt-out that can take hours or even days to clear. Every dive is a calculated risk, a delicate dance with the elements, where preparation and discipline are the only partners. It is a journey into an environment that offers no second chances. It is a pursuit that demands not just physical skill and technical mastery, but an unwavering mental fortitude built on a foundation of humility and respect for the cave. The ability to solve multiple cascading problems in the dark, under pressure, while your life hangs in the balance, requires a calmness that is nothing short of extraordinary. She was one of the most fearless and accomplished cave divers in the world, a woman who felt more at home in the submerged underworld than on dry land. Agnes Malauka had dedicated her life to exploring these secret places, pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible and mapping passages that had never seen the light of a human torch. Courage, skill, an insatiable passion for discovery. Intricate networks of Florida, deep, cold chasms of Europe, always returning with new knowledge and breathtaking stories. Her expertise was sought after for expeditions and film projects, including the blockbuster movie Sanctum. But on a summer day in 2011, deep beneath the rugged landscape of South Australia, Agnes Malauka embarked on a dive that would become her last. She entered a passage from which she would never return, leaving the exploration community in a state of shock and profound loss. This is the story of that final, tragic dive. The setting for this tragedy is a place known to divers around the globe simply as Tank Cave. Its name resonates within the tight-knit community of cave explorers, a name synonymous with both breathtaking beauty and extreme, unforgiving challenge. It is a place that demands absolute perfection, where the line between a successful exploration and a life-threatening incident is razor-thin. Located near Mount Gambier in South Australia, it's not just a cave, but a sprawling subterranean maze. This region, known as the Limestone Coast, is a global mecca for cave divers. Its unique karst landscape, formed over millions of years, is riddled with water-filled passages, creating a network of some of the most spectacular and dangerous underwater environments on the planet. Tank Cave is considered the crown jewel of this system, a labyrinth that has drawn the world's best explorers for decades. It is considered one of the longest and most intricate underwater cave systems on Earth, with over 7 kilometers of mapped passages and countless more still waiting to be discovered. But that number, 7 kilometers, fails to capture the true complexity. This isn't a single linear tunnel. It's a three-dimensional web of interconnected conduits, some vast enough to drive a bus through, others so tight they require a diver to remove equipment to pass. Mapping the system is a painstaking process, a slow and methodical crawl into the unknown, with explorers laying down a permanent guideline, meticulously surveying every twist and turn to build a picture of this hidden world. Its name is deceptively simple, derived from the old stock watering tank that once covered its entrance. A humble, almost comically mundane origin for a place of such profound and dangerous beauty. For years, it was just a hole in a farmer's field, a convenient water source, its incredible secrets lying just meters below the surface, completely unknown. Below this unassuming entry point lies a complex network of tunnels, chambers, and claustrophobic restrictions. The descent begins through a narrow shaft, opening up into a world devoid of natural light. From here, the cave branches out in every direction, a disorienting maze for the unprepared. That presents a formidable challenge to even the most experienced divers. The geology of Tank Cave makes it uniquely treacherous. The limestone is soft and fragile. Passages can be incredibly restrictive, forcing divers into contorted positions, their movements limited, their gear scraping against the walls. Every maneuver requires flawless buoyancy control and a calm, focused mind. The floor and walls are coated in a thick layer of fine, dark silt, a sediment so light that the slightest disturbance, a misplaced fin kick, the exhalation of bubbles, can instantly turn crystal-clear water into an impenetrable black fog. This sediment, a mixture of clay and decomposed organic matter, has the consistency of talcum powder. It hangs suspended in the water column, refusing to settle, creating a condition of zero visibility that can persist for hours, even days. This phenomenon, known as a silt-out, is one of a cave diver's greatest fears. It can cause complete disorientation, stripping away a diver's most crucial sense: sight. In an instant, the entire world vanishes. The powerful dive lights become useless, their beams swallowed by the swirling darkness. Panic can set in as the diver is plunged into a sensory deprivation nightmare, alone in the cold and the black, making it impossible to see gauges, equipment, or the guideline that serves as the only lifeline back to the surface, the world above. In a silt-out, a diver must rely solely on tactile sense and unwavering discipline, their hands searching blindly for that thin nylon rope, the one and only connection to a known route out. Losing contact with the line is often a death sentence. For explorers like Agnes Maloka, Tank Cave was an irresistible puzzle. It wasn't the danger that drew her in, but the profound challenge and the promise of discovery. She possessed the rare combination of physical skill, mental fortitude, and an insatiable curiosity required to safely navigate such an environment. She understood the risks intimately and had dedicated her life to mastering the techniques needed to mitigate them. It was a place where a small, unexplored side passage could lead to a massive new section of the cave system, a breakthrough that would add another chapter to the story of this incredible place. This is the siren song of cave exploration, the chance to be the first human being to ever lay eyes on a passage, to push the boundaries of the known world, and to leave a permanent mark on the map for others to follow. On February 27, 2011, Agnes and a dive partner descended into the familiar darkness of Tank Cave. The dive plan was to explore a specific area, a section known for its tight passages and silty conditions. They were both highly experienced, equipped with state-of-the-art rebreathers, and following established protocols. The objective was clear: to survey a known line and potentially investigate promising leads for future exploration, pushing a little further into the unknown as she had done countless times before. The conditions were typical for the system: tight, silty, and demanding. Visibility was good, but the potential for a silt-out was ever present. This was business as usual for Agnes, an environment where she was supremely comfortable, her movements precise and efficient, her mind calm and analytical. But something on this dive would go terribly wrong. A decision to enter a small offshoot tunnel, a passage that was not part of the original dive plan, would change everything. This deviation from the plan, a common practice in exploration when a promising lead appears, is a calculated risk. The explorer weighs the potential for discovery against the immediate environmental threats. A choice made in the spirit of exploration that defined her very being would set in motion a chain of events that would lead to a desperate, silent struggle deep within the earth. Inside this narrow restriction, far from the main guideline, the delicate balance she had mastered throughout her career was irrevocably broken. The fine silt, disturbed in the tight confines, would have quickly and completely erased all visibility. The very passion that drove her to explore the world's darkest corners would ultimately lead her into a passage with no exit. Trapped, disoriented, and with a finite supply of breathing gas, she was faced with the one scenario every cave diver trains for, but prays they never encounter. The cave that had given her so much purpose had become a trap, its silent ancient walls bearing witness to the final moments of one of the world's most gifted explorers. The morning of Sunday, February 27, 2011, dawned cool and clear over Mount Gambier. In this quiet corner of South Australia, the landscape, scarred by ancient volcanoes, hides a secret world beneath its surface. A labyrinth of limestone caves flooded with water of astonishing clarity. For the global cave diving community, this region is a pilgrimage site, and for those who gathered at the entrance to Tank Cave, it was a day for exploration. The mood was one of focused anticipation, a familiar blend of camaraderie and meticulous preparation that precedes any serious cave dive. Among them was Agnes Malowka, a diver whose name was synonymous with pushing the boundaries of underwater exploration. Agnes and her dive partner prepared their gear with the practiced efficiency of seasoned explorers. They were using state-of-the-art closed-circuit rebreathers, or CCRs. These are not your typical scuba tanks. A rebreather is a complex life support system that recycles a diver's exhaled breath. Instead of venting bubbles into the water, it directs the gas into a loop where a chemical scrubber removes the carbon dioxide. Oxygen sensors then analyze the remaining gas, and a computer injects a precise amount of oxygen to maintain a breathable mix. The benefits are transformative for cave exploration. Dives can last for many hours, far beyond the limits of conventional scuba, and critically, they produce almost no bubbles. In caves with ceilings coated in fine, volatile silt, exhaled bubbles can trigger a blinding underwater avalanche. For Agnes, the rebreather was an essential key, unlocking deeper and more remote passages. But this advanced technology demands an equally advanced level of training, discipline, and an intimate understanding of its mechanics. Their plan for the day was ambitious: to descend into Tank Cave and continue exploring a new section, pushing a line into the unknown. As they submerged, the familiar world vanished. The warmth of the sun, the sounds of the surface, the very air itself, all were left behind. They were replaced by the profound, enveloping quiet of the cave and the steady, rhythmic pulse of their own breathing, amplified within their rebreather loops. The water temperature dropped, a constant chill that their dry suits held at bay. Their world shrank to the piercing beams of their dive lights, cutting cones of white through the darkness. Immediately upon entering the overhead environment, they connected with the main guideline, a permanent nylon rope that serves as the cave's primary highway. In cave diving, the line is everything. It is the only guaranteed path back to the surface. Losing the line is the single most dangerous event that can occur. Divers maintain constant contact, either physically or by staying within arm's reach, following it with unwavering discipline. They followed this lifeline for a significant distance, their movements precise and controlled to conserve energy and gas. Their destination was a junction known as the Sea Run, a branch off the main, well-traveled route. This area was known to be a complex maze of smaller tunnels, a place where the cave's geology became more intricate and challenging. It was less traveled, a frontier within a known system. But their objective lay even deeper within this section. The specific target for the day's exploration was a small, unmapped side tunnel, a tight offshoot from a known passage that Agnes had previously identified. This was the very edge of the map. This passage was a major restriction, a section of cave so narrow that a diver cannot swim through with their gear mounted on their back. They must remove their tanks, push them ahead, and squeeze their body through the tightest sections. For many, such tight spots are terrifying dead ends, absolute barriers to exploration. But for Agnes, they were invitations. They were the gateways to Virgin Cave, places no human had ever seen. Her unique skill and slender build made her exceptionally adept at navigating these challenging spaces. The plan was carefully orchestrated, following established protocols. Agnes would be the push diver. She secured a thin, new exploration line from her reel to the permanent guideline, creating a new branch on the cave's map. This new line would be her only connection back to this point. Her partner would not follow her into the restriction. He would remain here, in the larger, safer passage, acting as a safety anchor. His role was to monitor the time, manage his own gas supply, and be ready to provide immediate support should Agnes return with a problem. With her rebreather unclipped and pushed ahead, Agnes began to negotiate the entrance. With her primary light probing the absolute darkness of the new passage, she carefully entered the tight opening, her body contorting to fit the shape of the rock. The reel in her hand paid out the thin white line behind her, a fragile thread connecting her to the known world. Inside, the environment changed instantly. Conditions were immediately more hazardous. This virgin tunnel was coated in a thick, fluffy, dark silt, fine sediment that had settled undisturbed for millennia. This is the cave diver's greatest foe. It has the consistency of talcum powder and hangs in the water with near-neutral buoyancy. The slightest touch can explode it into a blinding cloud. Agnes was a master of buoyancy and trim, moving with minimal contact. But in such a confined space, some disturbance is almost inevitable. A fin kick too close to the floor, an elbow brushing a wall, even the gentle movement of water displaced by her body. Each tiny contact added a small puff of sediment to the water. As she progressed deeper into the restriction, the cumulative effect of these minor disturbances began to grow. Then, it happened. What started as a minor haze in her wake quickly became a thick, soupy fog, a complete and total silt-out. Visibility dropped from several meters to absolute zero in a matter of seconds. Her powerful dive light, once a tool for revealing the cave's beauty, was now useless, its beam scattering back at her as if hitting a solid wall. She was plunged into a tactile, featureless blackness, more absolute than any night on the surface. Her extensive training would have kicked in instantly. Stop, breathe, think, act. The procedure is to halt all movement to avoid worsening the silt-out, remain calm, and find the guideline. But while attempting to reverse her path in total darkness, pushing her equipment back through the tight passage, Agnes appears to have lost contact with her guideline. Perhaps the line, which has some natural slack, was pushed into a crevice, or she became disoriented while maneuvering. The exact moment is unknown, but the consequence was catastrophic. Once separated from the guideline, Agnes was truly lost. In the featureless, tactile darkness of a complete silt-out, every direction feels the same. There is no up or down, no left or right. The only sensory input is the cold, confining rock and the thick, soupy water. To be lost in a cave is terrifying. To be lost in a silted-out restriction is one of the most dire situations a diver can face. The psychological pressure in such a situation is immense. The instinct to struggle, to swim frantically in search of the line, is overwhelming but fatal. It only worsens the silt-out and consumes precious gas. The sound of one's own breathing, the gentle hiss of the rebreather, becomes a stark, ticking clock, a reminder of a finite resource in a place where time is the most valuable commodity. Outside, her partner watched as the entrance to the restriction began to bleed a thick cloud of silt. He waited, knowing the protocol. But as the minutes ticked by, far longer than the agreed-upon time, concern turned to dread. Following one of the most rigid safety rules in cave diving, that a second diver should never enter a zero-visibility restriction to attempt a rescue, as it would likely trap them both, he made the agonizing but correct decision to surface and raise the alarm. Meanwhile, trapped inside the passage, Agnes was engaged in a desperate, silent battle for survival. It is believed she attempted to switch to her emergency bailout gas supply, a standard procedure. But performing complex tasks in a tight space, under extreme stress, and in total blackness, is nearly impossible. The window of opportunity for self-rescue, finding the line before disorientation and gas consumption became critical, was closing with every passing second, with every breath. The very walls of the cave she loved to explore, the unknown places she sought with such passion, had become her prison. In the silent, cold depths of Tank Cave, surrounded by the ancient, unforgiving rock, Agnes Maloka had passed the point of no return. On the surface, the initial calm of the day began to fray. When Agnes's dive partner emerged from the water alone, a feeling of deep unease settled over the small group. The group waited, their eyes fixed on the placid surface of the water, praying for the sight of bubbles. As the minutes ticked by, hope began to fade. The call for assistance was made. The cave diving community in Mount Gambier is small, tight-knit, and exceptionally well organized for exactly these kinds of emergencies. The grim reality set in. Given the time that had elapsed, the chances of finding Agnes alive were virtually zero. The mission's objective shifted to bringing her home. The recovery operation began as evening fell. The first team of highly experienced search divers descended into Tank Cave. The mission now entered its most dangerous phase. Visibility was non-existent. The search was conducted entirely by feel. After a tense and difficult search, the diver's hand made contact. It was not the guideline he found, but Agnes. The recovery diver confirmed the discovery and began the delicate and emotionally wrenching process of bringing her back. The news of the discovery sent a shockwave through the global diving community. Agnes Maloka, the vibrant, fearless, and seemingly invincible explorer, was gone. As the initial grief subsided, it was replaced by a collective determination to ensure her legacy would be one of inspiration, not just caution. Agnes was more than just an adventurer. She was a pioneer whose life's work, captured in maps, films, and writings, became a lasting testament to her spirit. The detailed and accurate maps she created remain in use, guiding explorers safely through passages she was the first to chart. She was a role model, particularly for a new generation of female explorers, proving that courage, skill, and determination know no gender. Agnes Maloka lived for discovery, and while her final dive ended in tragedy, her courage continues to fuel the ambitions of those who follow in her wake. To formally honor her immense contributions, the Agnes Maloka Memorial Environmental Science Award was established. This prestigious grant seeks to keep her spirit of discovery alive by supporting meaningful research projects related to the underwater environment. It empowers the next generation of explorers and scientists to undertake ambitious projects, fostering new discoveries in her name. Her story has become a cornerstone of modern diving lore, a solemn, cautionary tale that has contributed to making a dangerous pursuit safer for all who follow. The story of Agnes Maloka is a powerful and poignant narrative that encapsulates the very essence of exploration. It underscores the dual truth that has always defined humanity's greatest adventures. that the pursuit of discovery often walks hand in hand with immense risk. It is a narrative that balances the thrill of discovery with the weight of consequence, leaving us with a profound respect for both the explorers and the formidable environments they dare to enter. In the silent depths of Tank Cave, her spirit remains, a reminder that the pursuit of discovery often walks hand in hand with danger.
Beneath New Jersey's murky Atlantic, a shadow waits. It's U-869, a lost World War II U-boat. Wreck divers chase clues through cold green darkness. Today, we cover one of wreck diving's most tragic stories. Make sure to subscribe to catch future videos like this. 60 miles off the coast of New Jersey, the water is a dark, murky green. Visibility is a luxury. Today, it is barely 10 feet. Bubbles rise in a frantic, silvery column. They are the only sign of life in this crushing, silent world. Each breath is a loud, mechanical rasp, the sound of a diver's regulator. It is the only sound that matters down here, this deep, this far from the sun. The pressure is immense. It squeezes the body. It plays tricks on the mind. A single beam of light cuts through the gloom. It is a diver's torch. It sweeps back and forth, a nervous pulse in the darkness. The light catches swirling particles, marine snow, a constant blizzard of debris from the world above. It dances in the beam, making it hard to focus, making it hard to see what lies just beyond its reach. The diver descends slowly, carefully. Every foot deeper is a step into another realm, a world without color, a world without warmth, a world where mistakes are not forgiven. The surface feels a million miles away. It might as well be on another planet. The silence is broken by a faint, rhythmic sound. Ping, a sonar echo. It comes from the support boat, far above on the rolling waves. Ping, it is searching, mapping the unseen. The sound travels through the water, a ghostly messenger. It paints a picture of the seabed on a screen. But screens are for the surface. Down here, there is only what the light can touch. The diver is a small, fragile figure in a vast, indifferent ocean, floating in endless suspension, waiting, searching. The cold gnaws at exposed skin. It stiffens the fingers. It makes every movement a conscious effort. This is not a place for the living. It is a graveyard, a place where things are lost, forgotten. The ocean keeps its secrets well. It guards them with pressure, darkness, cold. To come here is to challenge the natural order. It is an act of sheer will, an act of defiance against the crushing weight of the sea. The diver continues the descent, deeper and deeper, into the heart of the abyss, drawn by a mystery, pulled by a question that has no easy answer. What lies at the bottom of this cold, unforgiving sea? The pings continue, a steady, haunting heartbeat in the deep. The sonar paints a picture. It is a crude image, a grainy sonar view, a long, dark shape on the sandy bottom. It is man-made, there is no doubt. The shape is unnatural, a foreign object in a desolate seascape. For years it was just a rumour, a fisherman's tale, a snag on a net, a ghost on a depth finder. Local divers gave it a name, U-Who. The name was a question. U-boat? Who knows? A mystery wrapped in steel, lying at a depth that tested conventional diving, 230 feet down, a place where the sun never shines. Its identity is a puzzle. No records showed a submarine lost here, not an American one, not a German one. Naval historians were stumped, archives were silent. The wreck shouldn't be here. Yet there it was, a silent, steel tomb, secrets locked away, guarded by pressure and treacherous Atlantic currents. Many had tried to explore it. Few had succeeded. The depth was extreme. The conditions were brutal. The wreck is a maze of jagged metal, tangled wires. It did not give up its secrets easily. Reaching the wreck is only the beginning. The real danger lies within. Exploring the interior is a different challenge. Not just diving. Cave diving in steel that's slowly collapsing. Tight passages. Darkness absolute. Silt covering every surface. One misplaced fin kick can stir it up. It creates a total blackout. Getting lost is easy. Finding your way out can be impossible. Entanglement is constant. Wires hang like spider webs. Sharp edges wait in the dark. This place demands perfection. For years, Yoo-hoo was legend, a challenge for daring wreck divers. The Mount Everest of the East Coast. Identifying the wreck would solve a historical mystery. It would give a name to the ghost ship. It would tell the story of its final moments. It would honor the men who went down with it. But the price of that knowledge was high. The ocean demanded respect. You, who had already proven it could be deadly to those who did not give it. Enter Chris and Chrissy Rouse, father and son from Pennsylvania. They were not your average weekend divers. They were driven. They were meticulous. Some would say they were obsessed. For them, diving was not a hobby. It was a calling, a way to push boundaries, a way to explore the last unknown frontiers on Earth. They were drawn to the most difficult and dangerous wrecks, the ones nobody else could conquer. The Yoo-hoo was the ultimate challenge, an unidentified World War II submarine, lying in deep, dark water. It was a mystery that was tailor-made for them. They had one single-minded goal. They would be the ones to identify it. Chris, the father, was a veteran diver, a pioneer in the world of technical diving. He had a reputation for being fearless, for pushing the gear and himself to the absolute limit. Chrissy, his son, was his partner, his equal in the water. They shared a unique bond, forged in the crushing depths of the ocean. They planned their dives with military precision. They customized their equipment. They rehearsed every step. They left nothing to chance. Their teamwork was seamless, a silent language of hand signals and shared glances. In the hostile environment of the deep, they moved as one. Their quest to identify the Yoo-hoo became an all-consuming passion. It dominated their lives. They spent countless hours researching, studying naval archives, talking to historians. They spent thousands of dollars on equipment and boat charters. Every weekend was dedicated to the wreck. They made dive after dive, each time going a little deeper, staying a little longer, pushing a little further into the submarine's dark interior. They were searching for a clue, a single piece of evidence, anything that could give the U-boat its name back. A manufacturer's plate, a serial number, a personal effect from a crew member. This was more than just a dive. It was a historical expedition. They were not treasure hunters. They were underwater detectives, piecing together a puzzle that had been lost for half a century. They knew the risks. They understood the danger better than anyone. At 230 feet, nitrogen narcosis, the rapture of the deep, could cloud judgment. Decompression sickness, the bends, was a constant threat. An equipment failure could be fatal. But for the Rouses, the pull of the mystery was stronger than the fear, the obsession to know, to discover. It drove them deeper and deeper into the heart of the Yoo-hoo. In 1992, the push toward the engine room was one of the Rouses' most ambitious goals. Located in the aft section, it was the vessel's powerhouse. It housed the massive diesel engines. It housed the electric motors. It was a place of extreme noise and heat when the submarine was alive. Now it was a place of extreme silence and cold. In the engine room, they noted manufacturers' plates on the MAN diesel engines. Chris signaled Chrissy. They documented locations and markings carefully, working through grime but keeping their focus on recording evidence. A wire brush revealed the MAN logo and partial serials, strong clues of German manufacture, not a hull number. They photographed and logged everything, preserving details for later research. They had a lead, small, stubborn clues buried deep in the most dangerous confines. Enough to suggest a German U-boat, but not the final identification. For the Rouses, it was a hard-won step forward. They had pushed further, risked more, and gathered evidence others could analyse. The swim out felt like progress, not the finish line, but a breakthrough worth the risk. They had stared into the abyss, and the abyss had blinked. As they exited the hatch and began their ascent up the anchor line, the mood was euphoric. They had been inside the wreck for over 20 minutes, a dangerously long time at that depth. They thought about the research that awaited them on the surface. The long, tedious decompression stops that awaited them on the line felt like a minor inconvenience, a small price to pay for the historic discovery they held in their hands and in their minds. Victory was sweet. Inside the steel maze of U-869, Chrissy squeezes through a tight passage and becomes trapped. A snag, a wrong turn. Silt erupts. The world turns to grey. He flashes a frantic light signal. Chris sees it and goes back in. Father for son, partner for partner. They fight the wreck and the clock. Lines, wires, jagged steel. Gauges dip low, breaths grow shorter. Pressure, metal, and time close in. They free the jam, but the gas is nearly gone. There is no margin left, only one choice. They bolt for the exit, leaving careful plans behind. A rapid, uncontrolled ascent begins. No proper stops. Physics does not forgive. They reach the surface far too soon. On the surface, chaos. Shouts, dragging bodies over the gunnel. Chrissy loses consciousness within minutes. CPR, oxygen, desperate hands working against the clock. Chris is alive, confused, in agony, hit hard by decompression sickness. Bubbles rip through blood and tissue, the bends made real. A mayday, a race to shore. The Coast Guard coordinates. Every minute matters. The boat pounds through chop toward the dock. Urgency on every face, urgency in every movement. At the dock, paramedics, a stretcher, ambulance doors slam. Sirens answer. In the recompression chamber, pressure rises, and hope with it. Protocols engage, time stretches. But for Chrissy, it is too late. The damage is done. He is gone soon after surfacing. Chris fights through the night under constant care. But despite treatment, he dies the next day in the hospital. 2 lives bound by courage and obsession, claimed by the sea. The monitors fall silent. The room goes still. The cost of 1 entrapment, 1 rescue, 1 panicked ascent, paid in hours. Panic, entanglement, gas management, decompression. In the deep, discipline is life. Fear is fatal. The ocean has the final say. Remember their skill. Remember their love. Remember the lesson. For Chris and Chrissy Rouse, U-869 was the last dive. A war grave and a warning. In the stillness after, the sea keeps its silence, and we keep their memory. In the aftermath of the tragedy, the evidence that Chris and Chrissy Rouse had collected was not forgotten. Other divers, including John Chatterton, took up the task of finishing their work. The process was slow and difficult. They had to cross-reference obscure parts lists and engine manufacturing records. But finally, they found a match. Later, other divers located and photographed artifacts, parts stamped with the number U-869. Cross-referenced with engine and parts records, the match was definitive. The ghost ship finally had a name. History had to be rewritten. The official record stated that U-869 had been sunk by Allied warships off the coast of Gibraltar in the Mediterranean. The discovery off the coast of New Jersey proved this was wrong. The discovery provided closure for the families of the German crewmen, who for 50 years had believed their loved ones were lost in a different ocean. They had mourned them in the wrong ocean. The discovery also fostered an unlikely connection between the American divers who found the wreck and the German families of the men who died on it. John Chatterton and others who continued the research travelled to Germany to meet with surviving relatives. They shared the story of the discovery, showed them underwater footage of the submarine, and presented them with some of the artifacts recovered from the wreck, such as the German-made dinner plates. These meetings were emotional, bridging a gap of decades, nationalities, and the lingering shadows of war. The discovery transformed an anonymous wreck, the Yoo-hoo, into a recognized war grave, a memorial to the 56 men who remain entombed within its steel hull. Chris and Chrissy Rouse risked everything for discovery. They were driven by a passion that few can understand, a need to know what lay hidden in the dark, cold waters off the coast of New Jersey. Their quest was not for gold or treasure, but for a piece of history. They chased a ghost ship and, through extraordinary bravery and meticulous documentation, advanced the search. Later, divers confirmed U-869 with artifacts stamped with its number. The Rouse's work paved the way, correcting a decades-old error, a story later chronicled in Shadow Divers, proving that forgotten truths can still be found by those willing to look in the deepest, darkest places. If you love true survival stories and deep-sea mysteries, subscribe now for more real-world explorations brought to life.
January 30th, 1925. The small town of Cave City, Kentucky, is quiet in the pre-dawn chill. It's a place built on a foundation of rock and rumor, a community whose fortunes rise and fall with the secrets hidden just beneath the surface. Out on the Flint Ridge, a cold winter bites the Kentucky hills. The air is still, heavy with the damp scent of frost and sleeping earth. The trees are bare skeletons, their bony fingers clawing at a slate-grey sky that promises no warmth. It's a stark, unforgiving landscape, beautiful in its own harsh way. At the cave's edge, a lone figure readies himself. Now, near the mouth of a dark, unassuming hole in the ground, a man checks his gear one last time. His hands, calloused and knowing, move with practiced efficiency over the worn coil of rope, the sturdy lantern, the simple tools of his trade. His name is Floyd Collins. He is a cave explorer, but that title doesn't quite capture the man. He is a prospector of the subterranean world, a dreamer whose dreams are not of gold, but of vast, silent chambers and glittering formations. He is 37 years old, with a quiet intensity etched into the lines around his eyes. For Floyd, the earth beneath his feet isn't just dirt and rock, it holds his entire future. He hopes to find a new wonder, a hidden passage that will connect this humble hole to the world-famous Mammoth Cave labyrinth. In the cutthroat cave wars of 1920s Kentucky, such a discovery isn't just a geological feat. It's a winning lottery ticket. It would make him a rich man, a local legend, and secure his family's legacy for generations. He strikes a match. The small flare of sulfur is sharp in the cold air. He lights his kerosene lantern. Its warm glow pushes back the encroaching shadows, painting the damp rock in hues of orange and gold. The flame flickers, a tiny, defiant star against an immense, waiting darkness. Collins takes a deep, deliberate breath. The cold air stings his lungs, a final reminder of the world he is about to leave behind. He gets down on his hands and knees. The opening to what he calls Sand Cave is not a grand entrance. It is a tight, unforgiving squeeze, a mere crack in the earth that seems to inhale the morning light and exhale a cold, ancient breath. He begins to crawl, pushing the lantern ahead of him into the gullet of the cave. The limestone walls are cold and damp to the touch, slick with condensation. Water drips slowly, methodically from unseen fissures above. Each drop is a tiny tick of a subterranean clock, measuring time on a scale far greater than human lives. This is his world. The profound silence, the absolute dark, the primal smell of wet earth and stone. It's a sensory deprivation that would send most men scrambling back to the surface. But for Floyd, it is a place of comfort and possibility. He has been in places like this 1,000 times before, wriggling through the planet's hidden arteries. He is not afraid. He is careful. He is methodical. He knows the risks intimately. Every explorer does. The sudden shift of loose rock, the misstep in the dark, the passage that narrows just a fraction too much. But the promise of discovery, the allure of being the first human to ever lay eyes on a hidden cathedral of stone, always outweighs the danger. He worms his way deeper into the earth. The passage narrows, the ceiling lowering until it forces him onto his stomach. This is the true work of caving. He must exhale completely to inch his body forward, making himself smaller to fit the confines of the rock. The rough stone scrapes against his back and chest, a constant abrasive reminder of his tight confines. The lantern, pushed ahead, casts long dancing shadows that twist the familiar shapes of the cave into grotesque, fleeting monsters. He is now dozens of feet below the surface, far from the winter sun and the world of men. Down here, the temperature hovers at a constant chilling 54 degrees, just above freezing. The silence is absolute, a physical pressure on the eardrums, broken only by the sound of his own labored breathing and the soft rhythmic scrape of his clothes against the rock. He is utterly alone, a single warm-blooded soul moving through the deep, hidden veins of an indifferent planet. Yet, in this isolation, he feels a profound sense of purpose. He is close to something. He can feel it in the changing texture of the rock, the subtle shift in the air. The crawl space is barely a foot high in some places, a claustrophobic tube of stone. He pushes the lantern forward a few more inches, its light a beacon in the void, then shimmies his body to follow it. Push, exhale, slide, repeat. This cave is known to be unstable, a dangerous mix of packed sand, clay, and loose rock. It's not the solid, reliable limestone of the great show caves nearby. It is a treacherous place, a geological death trap that other, more cautious cavers avoid. But Floyd Collins is different. He is a gambler. Where others see only danger, he sees opportunity. He sees a shortcut. He is convinced this crumbling, forgotten passage is his key to a better life. A life of recognition, where his name is spoken with respect. A life of financial freedom, free from the toil and uncertainty of farming the rocky Kentucky soil. He just needs to push a little farther. Wriggle through one more tight spot. Find the connection. Prove everyone wrong. He believes with every fiber of his being that just beyond this next bend, this next squeeze, lies the discovery that will change everything. He is now deep within the earth, a place of profound silence and ancient cold. Each foot of progress has been a battle against the constricting rock, a journey deeper into a world untouched by the sun. He is 55 feet underground. Down here, the familiar rhythms of the surface world are gone, replaced by the steady, patient heartbeat of the stone. The air is thin and cold, each breath a visible cloud of vapor that hangs in the lantern light before being swallowed by the darkness. It's a damp, biting chill that seems to emanate from the very bones of the cave. He pushes onward, his body slick with mud and the constant condensation that drips from the ceiling. Every inch is earned through grit and exertion. The tight passage continues, a relentless test of will. It narrows and widens, forcing him to contort his body to become a part of the subterranean landscape he is exploring. Finally, he finds a small chamber, just big enough to sit up. The pressure on his chest and back eases, a moment of profound relief. His muscles ache, his knuckles are raw, but here he can breathe deeply. He takes a long, slow drink from his canteen. The cool water is a small comfort in this alien environment. He looks around with his lantern, the warm, flickering light dancing across the chamber walls, revealing the cave's secrets. The walls are a mosaic of solid rock and layers of compacted sand. He can see the layers of time, compressed into a fragile earthen wall. It's a geological storybook, but one whose pages are loosely bound. He must be careful. This is Sand Cave, infamous for its instability. He knows this part of the cave is especially prone to collapse. The very sand that gives the cave its name makes it treacherous. One wrong move, one dislodged stone, could seal this passage forever. He is so deep now. The thought is both exhilarating and sobering. The world above is a distant memory. Down here, only the immediate reality of rock, darkness, and his own breathing exists. He decides to turn back. The thrill of discovery is giving way to a primal need for open sky. He has explored enough for one day. He has pushed his luck, and he knows it. He has a map in his head, a route to follow back to the surface, back to safety. But as he begins to maneuver his body around, Shifting his weight to begin the arduous crawl out, his foot slips on the damp, gravelly floor. It kicks a loose rock, sending it skittering into the shadows. It's not a large rock, but in this delicately balanced place, it's enough. It's the key that turns the lock. A deep, guttural groan echoes from the wall beside him, a sound that seems to come from the very center of the earth. It is the sound of the earth shifting, of ancient pressures being released. It is the sound of a trap being sprung. Before he can react, a cascade of dirt and smaller stones rains down from the ceiling, a gritty curtain falling around him. He shields his head with his arms, a purely instinctual gesture against the sudden violence. Then, a heavier weight follows. A shadow detaches from the ceiling. A single, jagged boulder, weighing more than 200 pounds, breaks free. It tumbles down the narrow shaft, ricocheting off the walls with a deafening series of cracks and thuds. The boulder slams down. It does not hit his head. It does not hit his chest. It lands with sickening force on his left foot, pinning it against the cave floor. The impact is a dull, final crunch, a sound of bone and leather yielding to stone. A sharp, searing pain shoots up his leg, an electric shock of pure agony that steals his breath. He cries out, a raw, involuntary scream, but the sound is swallowed by the stone walls, absorbed by the immense, indifferent mass of the earth. He is trapped. The realization hits him a split second after the pain. He tries to pull his leg free, adrenaline surging through him. He pushes, he twists, he strains with all his might, but the rock is immovable. It holds him like a vice, a cold, unyielding fist of limestone and sand. Panic begins to set in, a cold wave that washes over him, far colder than the cave air. His heart hammers against his ribs. He is alone, utterly and completely alone. He is deep underground, farther from help than if he were stranded in the middle of an ocean. And he cannot move. The lantern, knocked from his hand, lies just beyond his reach. Its steady light is a cruel reminder of the world he can see but cannot touch, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air, each one a tiny, indifferent star in his private universe of pain. The full weight of his situation crashes down on him, heavier than the rock on his foot. The darkness seems to press in from all sides, no longer a space to be explored but a solid thing, a physical presence. The silence is no longer peaceful. It is menacing, an enormous, listening void. He is a prisoner of the earth he so loved to explore. He is pinned by the very stone he had hoped would lead him to fortune, his ambition and his tomb forged from the same material. Floyd Collins yells for help. His voice is a thin, desperate thread in the immense, unfeeling darkness of Sand Cave. It's a plea sent out into a labyrinth of stone that has no ears. He yells again and again until his throat is raw and his voice is a ragged whisper. But there is no one to hear him. Only the echo answers, a mocking reminder of his solitude. The cold begins to seep into his bones, a deep, invasive chill that the exertion of his struggle cannot keep at bay. He begins to shiver uncontrollably. The minutes stretch into an hour, then two. Time loses its meaning, measured only by the throbbing in his leg and the slow, agonizing drain of the lantern's fuel. He is trapped. The panic subsides, replaced by a cold, terrifying clarity, and the long, slow wait has just begun. To understand the man, you must first understand the land that shaped him. Dawn over limestone hills, where the ground is a storybook, and every page is rock and water. Floyd Collins was born of this Kentucky country, his life and his future pressed between layers of stone. They call it the land of 10,000 sinkholes, a place where the surface is a polite lie and the truth, the great breathing world, lives underneath. Floyd grew up with that truth. Born in 1887 to Lee and Martha Jane Collins, he learned the feel of stone the way other boys learned the feel of a plow handle. His father, Lee, had a curious streak, a habit of peering into sinkhole mouths and shallow caves on the farm. That curiosity became a family language. As boys, Floyd, Homer and Marshall carried tin lanterns and frayed rope, edging toward the dark with the careful boldness of apprentices. The earth was their teacher. He learned early that caves have moods. A cool breath means space ahead. A sudden stillness can mean a dead end. He listened. He marked passages with chalk, tied string lines through tight corridors, and sketched by lantern glow, methodical, frugal, and exact. There were small scares, rocks shifting, a lantern sputtering low, a wrong turn corrected by touch. Each lesson carved caution into his courage. He worked the fields by day, hands in the rocky soil, then slipped underground when chores were done. Faith in hard work, respect for stone, a quiet Appalachian warmth without show. He grew a feel for caves that bordered on instinct. A temperature drop a few degrees, a faint whisper of air, signs of space beyond. He could hear the shape of a room in the echo of a single tap. He wanted a cave of his own. Not just any cave, but a show cave. A place that would draw travelers off the road and down into wonder. In 1917, after years of crawling and mapping, he found it on the family place. A mouth to a hidden world he would call Crystal Cave. Inside was a delicate garden of gypsum, glittering like frost under warm light, flower-like crystals and helictites that seemed to defy gravity itself. He treated it with reverence. This wasn't treasure to be taken, it was beauty to be shown, carefully. The family poured their sweat into wooden stairs and safe paths. They hauled lumber by hand, set railings, and brushed loose sand from ledges. A shoestring operation with righteous pride. A window was cut for a ticket booth. A hand-painted sign, Crystal Cave Tours, hung where the road dust settled. They set a fair price. They waited. But the road to the cave was mud and ruts. In a good week, a wagon could make it. In a wet one, even hope stuck fast. Visitors trickled in. A lone couple here, a curious driver there. Coins changed hands, but slowly. Too slowly to lift a family clear of debt. The Mammoth Cave operators had the advantage. Solid roads, established routes, signs that pointed the curious away from smaller dreams. Winter thinned the livestock. Lantern fuel cost more than it should. Boots wore through at the toes. He counted bills at the kitchen table and came up short. Again. Still, when he led a tour, Floyd's voice softened. He warned folks, do not touch the formations. He guarded those helictites like family heirlooms. Word spread. Neighbours said Floyd had a nose for caves, could sniff out a draft under a stone fence, or hear a staircase of rooms in the hush of a pasture. Newspaper clippings tacked to boards told stories of bold descents and narrow squeaks. Reputation came before riches. He refined his craft, string lines to keep a true course, soot-stained arrows on stone, sketches stitched into a living map. Careful, daring, both at once. The goal, always, was connection. He believed Crystal Cave was just an outpost, a finger reaching toward a giant stone hand beneath Kentucky. If he could find the route, prove an underground artery tied his land to the famous passages, everything might change. Traffic, tickets, stability, a legacy. He tested for drafts with a candle, measured breath vapor, timed echoes. Not with a watch, but with the patience of a farmer who knows seasons better than seconds. After the war, roads were promised, then paved miles away. The stream of travellers took a bend that left Crystal Cave in the quiet. He patched gear instead of replacing it, saved wick stubs, stretched kerosene. Frugal measures that felt like a man bailing a leaky boat with his hat. Yet underground, hope stayed strong. The stone spoke in drafts and drops, and Floyd listened. He always listened. Tours were small but careful. He led by example, slow feet, steady light. He would stop a reaching hand with a gentle shake of the head and a quiet grin. The money side, though, it kept coming up short. The cave wars were heating, signs sprouting like weeds, salesmen steering curiosity for a commission. Floyd's answer was not bluster, it was persistence. He kept mapping, kept reading the stone, convinced there was a back door to fortune beneath his feet. He imagined a line, Crystal Cave to Mammoth, threading under farms and fences. a seam waiting for a careful needle. On lean mornings, he'd fix his gaze on a gypsum flower and remember why he started. Beauty first, then bread. Neighbors would say, "Floyd can smell a draft through a wall." He'd just smile and keep moving, string at his belt, chalk in his pocket, hunger in his heart. He was careful, always careful, yet he courted risk the way a farmer courts rain, with respect and a willingness to be humbled by it. He believed the land owed him nothing. The work would either pay or it would teach. More maps, more drafts, more long looks into blackness. And then, a thought that hardened into resolve. There must be another way in. A closer entrance, near the highway, could change everything. Shorter drive, easier road, more eyes, more tickets. The math was simple, the stone less so. He studied sinkholes and outcrops beyond his boundary lines. He traced faint drafts with a wet finger to the air. He watched leaves tremble at cave mouths no one noticed. Maps spread like quilts across his table, crystal's halls sketched in soot and pencil, lines reaching toward the great labyrinth next door. The seasons turned. The family held on. And Floyd, steady, stubborn, hopeful, fixed his eyes on the dark line on his map that said, "Try here." He did not chase glory. He chased solvency. A warm stove in winter, a fair wage for work, and a future that didn't wobble with every rainstorm. And so, the idea sharpened to a point. Find the hidden connection. Find the closer door. Find the passage that would make the stone finally pay. He gathered his simple tools: rope, lantern, chalk, string, notebook. He steadied his breath. The land had given him a life. Now he would ask it for a way through. Out in Mammoth Cave country, there are openings that hide in plain sight, holes that breathe. Floyd found himself standing at one of them, lantern in hand. He felt the draft, cold and sure, coming up from the dark. And in that steady breath of the earth, he heard a promise. Or maybe a warning. He went to work. The path ahead would demand both parts of him, the careful craftsman and the gambler. He drew a line on his map and set his sights underground. Quiet determination, no fanfare. He believed with every fibre of his being that a hidden connection waited to be found, and he would wriggle, crawl, and endure until the stone answered him back. The 1920s in Kentucky were the era of the cave wars. This was not a conflict fought with guns, but with map signs and salesmanship. It was a bitter rivalry between local landowners who had discovered caves on their property. Each one vied for the attention and the dollars of the tourists flocking to the Mammoth Cave area. Roads were lined with misleading signs, pointing travelers away from competitors and toward one's own attraction. Men, known as cappers, would sometimes even jump onto the running boards of cars, trying to physically divert tourists to their cave. It was a desperate, cutthroat business, and Floyd Collins was right in the middle of it. Floyd's Crystal Cave was a genuine marvel, but its location was a major disadvantage. It was too far off the main roads. He struggled to compete with the more accessible caves, whose owners were masters of marketing and misdirection. He saw his dream slipping away, not because his cave wasn't good enough, but because he couldn't get enough people to see it. This frustration pushed him to take greater risks. He became convinced that the key to his success lay in finding another entrance, a back door to the vast cave systems that he believed connected everything underground. An entrance closer to the main highway would be a game changer. This obsession led him to Sand Cave. It was located on the property of a neighbor, not his own land. It was little more than a hole in the ground, tight, sandy, dangerously unstable. Most local explorers considered it a death trap, a fool's errand. But Floyd saw it differently. Its location was perfect, just off the main road to Mammoth Cave. If he could prove that this treacherous passage connected to a larger, more beautiful system, perhaps even his own crystal cave, he could strike a deal with the landowner. He could create a new premier attraction that no one could ignore. The potential reward was so great that it blinded him to the immense risk. He had explored Sand Cave before, pushing deeper each time. He was mapping it in his mind, learning its twists and turns. He was a man possessed by a single idea, a gambler staking everything on one last dangerous bet. The cave wars had worn him down, made him more desperate. The competition was fierce, and time was running out. He felt the pressure mounting from all sides. He believed the earth beneath Sand Cave held the solution to all his problems. He just had to be brave enough, or perhaps foolish enough, to go in and claim it. It was a gamble against the earth itself. We've been here before, the boulder, the held breath, the hush before it falls. You heard the cave's trap spring shut. Here is what followed, plain and true. In the moments after the fall, Floyd begins the fight to survive. He lies 55 feet below the surface, wedged in a crawlway no wider than his chest. A boulder has dropped from above, pinning his left foot. Blood slows, nerves burn, and the rescue, such as it is, begins. Cold stone closes in. The passage seems to freeze around him. His lantern sputters, its flame shrinking to a weary glow. His breath frosts the rock, proof of winter reaching even here. He claws at the debris, digging with numb fingers to free himself, twisting against the squeeze, bracing and straining for any give at all. But the rock does not move. The light dims, the shadows lengthen. He calls out, voice rough with pain and cold. At first, only echo answers back, the cave returning his words without comfort. Then a local boy, catching the faintest shout in the winded dark, runs to raise the alarm. Fellow cavers reach him as far as the squeeze allows, bringing hands, hope, and a plan. But the shaft is too narrow. No tool can reach the foot the stone has taken. They send words instead. Hold on, we're here, threading comfort through the dark. Volunteers arrive, miners with their grit and skill, even soldiers to lend muscle and order. Yet no machine can fit the crush of that passage. So they chip and pry by hand, inch by stubborn inch, spending precious heat with every minute that slides away. They tie bottles to string, improvised lifelines in a place that offers none, water to wet a parched mouth, milk for strength, even a little coffee to chase the cold from his thoughts. They lower the bottles down and pull messages back up the same thin line. Voices keep him awake, simple conversation as a shield against the dark. Above ground, winter tents rise in sleet and mud, a camp stitched together by urgency. Generators hum, throwing cold light across weary faces. Reporters gather, flashbulbs popping at the mouth of the hill, typewriters clicking as the story grows beyond Kentucky. Some call it a carnival at the cave, a spectacle standing in the snow. Lines of cars snake down the muddy road, undeterred by weather or distance. On day 5, the cave shifts again, a secondary collapse. The sand wall sloughs and slumps, the main crawl clogs with fresh debris, and the direct route seals shut. In an instant, the only path to Floyd is gone. A new plan takes hold: sink a vertical shaft from the surface and meet him from above. Picks bite the earth, hand drills chatter and shiver in the cold. Timbers brace the throat of the new hole, and rope pulleys creak as buckets rise and fall. Freezing rain turns the hillside to slurry, soaking men to the bone. Progress slows to inches, measured in mud and breath. Days pass, then a week, then nearly 2. Time marked in lantern fuel and whispered prayers. Below, Floyd weakens, each hour heavier than the last. They send prayers down the line, simple songs to keep his mind from drifting, and short messages for home, carried carefully back to daylight. Every note is relayed up the rope, every answer lowered with care. At last, the vertical shaft breaks through, a circle of new dark over old dark. On February 13, 1925, after days of digging, they reach the chamber and find that Floyd Collins cannot be saved. They are too late. The stone has kept its claim. Silence settles in the chamber, heavier than any rock. The camp above, once buzzing, falls quiet. His body cannot be brought out safely for weeks. The cave dictates the terms. Later, he is recovered with care and reinterred with the dignity he is due. Sand Cave keeps its counsel, out in Mammoth Cave country where stone writes the rules. In the aftermath, something shifts above ground too. Safety finally comes first, and the shine of the cave wars dulls. Standards spread from mines to show caves, hard lessons hammered into policy. The gaudy stunts that once pulled cars off the highway fade, replaced by care and clarity. Floyd Collins was more than a headline, a prospector and a showman in equal measure, and a son of Kentucky whose work ran on hope and stone. His story endures as a caution about risk and the price that ambition can demand. Ambition can open doors, but stone decides which ones stay shut. And still, dawn returns to the hills, the roads empty and quiet once more, while underground the cave keeps its patient pace, unchanged by noise or headlines. Listen, one drip, then another, the slow work of time resuming in the dark.
In the remote wilderness of New Zealand's South Island, a place of immense natural beauty exists. It is a landscape carved by ancient glaciers and defined by rugged peaks. Here, within the Kahurangi National Park, lies Mount Arthur. At its base, a spring emerges from the earth. This is no ordinary spring, it is the Pierce Resurgence, the exit point for one of the most formidable and mysterious underwater cave systems on the planet. The water that surfaces here is not warm or inviting, it is astonishingly cold, a constant 6 to 8 degrees Celsius. This chilling outflow is the visible gateway to a vast, submerged labyrinth that plunges deep into the mountain's core, a place few have ever seen. The Pierce Resurgence is a siren call to a very specific kind of explorer. It attracts the world's most elite technical cave divers. These are individuals driven by a desire to push the boundaries of human endurance and knowledge. They come to map the unknown and venture where no one has gone before. Near the entrance, the water is deceptively clear, offering breathtaking visibility of the smooth, sculpted rock formations. But this clarity is a fleeting gift. As a diver descends deeper into the system, the light vanishes completely. Vertical shafts, winding passages. The world shrinks to the narrow beam of a dive light, and the immense, crushing pressure of the water above becomes a constant, tangible force. This is a realm of extremes. The cave system is a vertical maze, with passages that drop sharply into the darkness. Some sections become so narrow that a diver, burdened with extensive life support equipment, can barely squeeze through. The primary challenge is the staggering depth. The Pierce has been explored to depths exceeding 200 meters, or 650 feet, placing it among the deepest known cold water caves in the world. At these abyssal depths, the physical and psychological toll on a diver is immense. Every movement is calculated, every breath is precious, and every second spent below adds hours to the mandatory life or death decompression stops required on the slow ascent back to the surface. This documentary provides a factual account of a dive that took place on the 20th of May, 1995. It is the story of a team of highly skilled divers who sought to chart the deepest reaches of this unforgiving system. And it is the true story of one of those divers, Dave Weaver, an experienced explorer who descended into the crushing depths of the Pierce on a mission of discovery. He was prepared for the risks, equipped with the best technology available, and supported by a team of his peers. But in the silent black water far below the surface of the Earth, something went terribly wrong. This is the story of his final dive. If you're enjoying this journey, please subscribe for more deep dive stories. Every deep exploration dive is built on a foundation of trust and meticulous planning. It is an unspoken promise among team members to follow the plan, to rely on training, to look out for one another. In February 2007, this promise was at the heart of the expedition to the Pierce Resurgence. The team assembled was not composed of thrill-seekers, but of serious, methodical explorers. Their goal was not just to go deep, but to bring back valuable data, to extend the known map of the cave, and to contribute to the understanding of this unique geological wonder. Every piece of equipment was checked and double-checked. Every gas mixture was precisely calculated for the extreme pressures ahead. The mission was clear: to push further into the cave's deepest sections, beyond the 180-meter mark. This was the frontier of exploration within the Pierce. Dave Weaver was a key part of this ambitious undertaking. As a highly experienced technical diver and a veteran of New Zealand's cave exploration scene, he possessed the skills and the mindset required for such a demanding task. He understood the profound dangers involved. The cold leaches warmth from the body relentlessly. Nitrogen narcosis can cloud judgment, and the sheer weight of the water can cause equipment to fail in unpredictable ways. He accepted these risks as part of the price of exploration. This account will adhere strictly to the verified facts of the incident. We will not speculate on what might have happened in those final moments, deep within the cave. Instead, we will present the known timeline of events, drawing from official reports and the direct accounts of those who were there. The story begins with a descent into a world of profound silence and cold, a journey into the heart of the mountain. It follows the dive plan, the descent into the abyss, and the critical moment when the mission diverged from its intended path. We will detail the conditions at depth, the freezing water, the constricting passages, and the almost total lack of visibility. Our narrative will reconstruct the events as they unfolded, focusing on the team's response when Dave Weaver did not return to the dive line at the expected time. This is not just a story about a tragedy, it is also a testament to the unforgiving nature of deep cave exploration. It is an exploration of the line between calculated risk and absolute limit, and what happens when that line is crossed in one of the most dangerous and inaccessible places on Earth. The events of that day would forever reinforce the Pierce Resurgence's formidable reputation. Diving in the Pierce Resurgence is a physical ordeal that begins long before a diver touches the water. The equipment for a deep, cold water cave dive is extraordinarily complex and heavy. Divers must use rebreathers. Rebreathers are sophisticated life support systems that recycle exhaled gas. They scrub carbon dioxide and add precise amounts of oxygen. That technology allows much longer dive times. It optimizes gas consumption. Both are essential for hours-long decompression stops. In addition to the rebreather, divers carry multiple bailout cylinders. These cylinders are filled with different gas mixtures for various depths. Each cylinder is a vital backup. The full setup can weigh over 90 kilograms, 200 pounds. It's a massive burden to carry over rough terrain to the water's edge. Once submerged, the challenges intensify. The extreme cold is relentless. Water conducts heat away 25 times faster than air. At 6 degrees Celsius, hypothermia risk is severe. Divers wear thick, insulated dry suits. Even the best protection eventually lets cold seep in. Cold numbs the fingers. Numb fingers make it hard to operate equipment. The sheer pressure at depth is another immense force. At 200 meters, ambient pressure is 21 times surface pressure. Pressure compresses everything, airspaces in the body and dive gear components. It forces inert gases like nitrogen and helium into body tissues. That gas absorption necessitates a long, slow ascent. Rising too quickly lets gases form bubbles in blood and tissues. That's decompression sickness, painful and often fatal. For the 2007 team's planned depths, decompression could exceed 10 hours. Those hours are spent hanging on a line in freezing water, waiting to off-gas safely. Finally, navigating the cave is physically exhausting. Moving with heavy, cumbersome gear demands strength and fitness. Squeezing through narrow restrictions is slow, methodical, draining, and claustrophobic. Divers push their bailout cylinders ahead of them. They carefully maneuver their bodies to avoid getting stuck or damaging life support gear. Cold, pressure, darkness, physical effort. Combined, they create a gauntlet testing the limits of human endurance. It's a challenge only a select few can undertake. In 1995, at the Pierce Resurgence, preparation began before dawn. Breath steamed in the cold air. Dry suit valves, rebreathers, and bailout cylinders were checked with methodical care. They moved through checklists together, tagging cylinders and tracing O-rings, hose routes, and valve positions while the pool lay still, blue, cold, waiting. Dave Weaver's gear was verified. His rebreather was calibrated. Cylinders were analyzed and labeled. The team cross-checked each other's equipment. Standard practice meant confirming gas mixes, set points, and redundancy. One diver reading while another confirmed and a third observed, nothing left to assumption. With everything in place, Weaver and his dive partner began the descent. The entry was calm, light fading to blue, then to cold silence. A guideline is paid out, tensioned and clipped. Hands glide along the line. Touch, confirm, continue. For the first meters, the water was electric blue. Visibility was good. Then sunlight vanished. Darkness closed in. The dive lights cut narrow beams through suspended particles. Depth eased downward as the gauge steadied and the HUD stayed green, bubbles giving way to the soft hush of the rebreather loop. The descent stayed controlled and on plan, with gas switches executed on schedule to manage narcosis and gas density in the cold, deep water. Following cave diving procedure, they confirmed the switch, verified the mix, took steady breaths while watching the readings settle, and then continued. Mid-descent, Dave's dry suit dump valve jammed open. The expected trickle became a steady hiss, bleeding the suit's lift away until the suit collapsed tight against him, a ribbon of silver bubbles unspooling into the dark. The change was sudden and negative, acceleration building downward as trapped gas bled from the suit. He began sinking rapidly down a vertical shaft. The guideline receded into darkness as the drop accelerated. Rock walls blurred past while his light narrowed to a tunnel of grain and shadow, bubbles racing upward and vanishing. His dive partner saw the drop and attempted to follow. A quick check showed depth building toward unsafe limits. He locked a gloved hand on the line as the computer numbers climbed and the safety ceiling loomed, clear and immovable. During the rapid descent, Weaver lost consciousness. Vision narrowed. The shaft continued to fall away below. He came to rest on a rock ledge at approximately 85 meters. The framing remained distant and still. No close approach. Just the ledge, the cold beam, and the black beyond. His dive partner was already beyond safe limits and could not reach him. The depth, cold, and low visibility made immediate rescue impossible. Protocol held, and the depth ceiling stood, shifting the priority to surviving the plan. The environment was unforgiving, near freezing water, constricted passages, and crushing pressure. Protocol and depth ceilings held. The ascent unfolded in stages, managing depth, time, and gas step by step. Each stop was a requirement, not a choice. Support divers held position on the line. Lights searched the void. No movement, no return signal. They marked times and relayed them along the guideline with calm voices, measured intervals, and steady hands. They checked watches and compared slates. When the planned window passed, concern grew, measured and disciplined. A direct pursuit would have carried unacceptable risk, and the demands of gas, thermal control, and depth limits dictated restraint. At the surface, coordination tightened, logs updated, times recorded, support staged for a controlled return. The team stabilized and relayed times up the line while the depths below remained dark and silent. Breath fogged in the cold air at the entrance pool. The blue mouth of the cave barely stirred. These are the verified facts, and the next question was unavoidable. What should be done now? Good. Dawn settled over the entrance pool, breath fogging the air while watches ticked and slates waited. The cave held its silence. The question would not move. What could be done now? Once the last support diver was safely out, the team measured what the cave would allow. Depth, cold, and constricted passages left no room for haste. With the technology and gas plans available then, a recovery was judged too dangerous. The site was secured. Times and notes were logged with careful hands. People came first, then data, then the chance of a safer attempt one day. "18 months passed. In January 1997, Australian cave divers returned with a different approach. Roles were assigned, redundancies layered, communications rehearsed, nothing left to assumption. They dived on mixed gas, trimix instead of simple compressed air, planning for gas density, narcosis, and long minutes at cold stops. Rebreathers were calibrated, bailout cylinders analyzed and marked, O-rings, valves, and hose routes traced. Check, confirm, continue. Descent began. Lamps cut through dark rock corridors while gloved hands slid along the guideline. Waypoints passed in order. Gas checks stayed steady. The plan was unhurried and exact. Following the guideline into darkness, they located Dave Weaver on a rock ledge at approximately 85 meters, kept at a respectful distance. The work that followed was deliberate. Controlled line handling, measured lift, calm signals, and a steady ascent. The ascent unfolded in stages, decompression stops in near-freezing water, while numbers fell into safe range. At the surface, the record was written plainly. Logs updated, times relayed, quiet nods and steady hands. The official finding read, "Death by misadventure." In the days after the recovery, the Australian divers continued to dive the Pierce on Trimix, pushing beyond 100 meters and documenting conditions. What had once been impossible did not become easy. Planning and technology had finally met the cave on its own terms. The lesson remained unchanged. Caution, discipline, humility before depth and cold. The record stands as a sober reminder of limits and of progress earned carefully, one measured decision at a time. By dusk, the pool was quiet again, the mountain holding its blue mouth in the same stillness as before. The story moved forward with a slower, more careful step. The Pierce is a place that demands humility and discipline from all who enter. Its beauty is matched by risk, and its depths allow no complacency. Dave Weaver's story endures as a sober reminder to plan carefully, respect the ceiling, and know when to turn. Thank you for watching.